Successful Escapes, Part 18. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, continuing to share with you the successful outcomes for many people who have utilized my work, so that you can gain encouragement from doing so, and perhaps identifying other people that would benefit from my expertise. First of all, we're going to hear from Terry Ann, who's asked that I narrate her circumstances. HG, your work on narcissism is so on point. I was in a narcissistic relationship for 20 years. We were not married. I really believed that I had a relationship, and I thought I was in love with this very charismatic, sexy man. I turned down many men because the high that the narcissist gave me felt wonderful. I felt like Rihanna, that I was the only girl in the world. Yeah. Right. To cut a long story short, I helped this man refurbish his house because it was a dump, supported him through his sickness, did all the hospital runs, washed his clothes, cooked and cleaned, ran errands like a good slave. I was always obedient and doing what he wanted, thinking it would satisfy him. To my surprise, every time I went to the hospital to visit, the nurses kept asking me who I was. This seemed rather strange to me, and I couldn't understand. So I'd say I'm a friend, and I get some queer looks from hospital staff on more than one occasion. I questioned my partner about this, and he said, "Don't worry about it," or he would just simply stay silent. Lo and behold, it was apparent that he had another partner that was visiting him in the hospital, somebody I was not aware of at the time. The irony of all of this was he was always at my house. I couldn't understand it was when he was actually meeting this person. The woman knew all about me, where I lived, what I drove, how she made herself relevant. Was when I was helping him refurbish his house, he decided to sabotage the work and cause confusion with the builders when the work was 90% completed. And then he let all the fireworks off and said to me that he enjoyed everyone running around him. This was an extremely stressful time. During that time, he'd replaced me with his shiny new toy, and she became his god. He also triangulated me against this woman by telling me to come to the hospital, and found his new appliance sitting in the chair. He said to me to come and sit down. This lady didn't leave because he told her to stay, even though he knew I was coming to wash him that day. It was funny. On the approach to the hospital, her name kept popping into my head, and then I finally met her face to face. He had orchestrated this, and I fell right into his trap and swallowed the bait. He played the game of "you can take the key to my house" in front of her, and I actually refused it that day. I could see that when she eventually left after the argument in the hospital, he was highly strung, and walked her to the door, and when he came back from walking her to the door, he looked at his lips in the mirror. I then said to him, "You've got lipstick on your lips." He proved that he had kissed her goodbye. I know that may sound trivial. He was curled up on the bed like a little boy, and he appeared uncomfortable on the bed, but he engineered it to go that way. With regard to your work, HG, your videos have saved me from all the emotional thinking that I was engaging in, and even though I went no contact, and I went back into the lion's den again because of my emotional thinking and not fully understanding what I was subjecting myself to, I then ended up with another devaluation. This person, who I perceived as my partner, triangulated me with everybody in his world, and it was subtly done. I fell into the trap and was devalued again with a silent treatment. He would say things like, "You don't need to be here, I'm not sick. You're not interesting, you're a skinflint." Even though we never shared anything financially except perhaps a breakfast or a lunch, which was always given to me as some kind of reward. Your videos enabled me to plough through and understand that nothing was real. This person didn't like or love me, which I now accept. I was simply a useful appliance, and you're right, my empathic traits and my emotional thinking are what kept me there for so long. The silent treatment, sleep deprivation. If I went to lay down on the bed first, he would say, "I need a cup of coffee." So I'd get up and make it for him like an obedient idiot. Or he'd say, "Are you thirsty?" I'd say no, and then I'd be obligated to get him what he wanted because I could sense the mental gymnastics, and at times I was exhausted and fed up. When we went out, he would hurry along, rushing and forward, and I would be lagging behind like a dog. And when he would enter, he wouldn't introduce me. He would turn his back and proceed to talk to whoever he was engaging with, and I'd be there like a spare tyre, feeling like an arse and a nobody. When I went out with him and his daughter, he would enter a place and tell everyone, "This is my daughter," and just look at me and carry on talking like I wasn't there. All his family knew about the 2 other appliances, and sometimes I would get strange looks, and I could read the discomfort that they were experiencing. But also, they were used to him, and him flaunting his appliances all over the place, and they were part of the circus. Anyway, Mr. Tudor, your work has made me come to my senses. Your videos have allowed me to stay no contact. I also felt my head split and my mind couldn't take it anymore. He'd already been stitching me up with his family to disengage from me again. There's so much that occurred during that time. Once again, I thank you, Mr. Tudor, for your work, as it is clear and it continues to support me and gives me clarity. I want to list the videos that I watched that enable me to come out of the funk that I was sitting in, and my mind was jumping all over the place and couldn't settle. I strongly believe that your work has allowed me to not end up in the hospital having a mental breakdown. These videos have helped me immensely, without a shadow of a doubt. Sleep deprivation parts 1 and 2, the narcissist and gifts, the doormat empath, the codependent empath, the narcissist's need for companionship, the narcissist corrupts the truth seeker, narcissists are addicted to people, the narcissist double abuse, you are a toaster, devaluation, confused and unaware, 5 reasons why a narcissist devalues you, asserting control and derailing, get out and stay out, the martyr, this is what silence does to the narcissist, 10 reasons why you don't hear from the narcissist and grief, what the narcissist fears after disengagement, and your successful escape series. I watched these videos in no particular order. All videos answered what was on my mind and what I couldn't understand because I was seeking answers, but not from the narcissist. These videos are superb and I can continue my journey of healing. With regard to my escape, the final straw was when I left my instinct. When I left, my instinct was screaming at me, "You're not supposed to be here." I couldn't sit down. I couldn't take my coat off. I then said I have to sort my head out because this is when my head felt like it had been chipped out. And I said that I'll be in touch the next day. I didn't make the call the next day as I said I would. It was clear to me that when he didn't telephone to ask what was happening with me, this was a clear indication that he never did actually care about me and already had my replacement in place because a washcloth was in the bathroom and a lip pencil was in the front room on the speaker, strategically placed. I knew this was a clear indicator of triangulation with his partner that he'd been seeing for 10 years, who lives a 10-minute drive from my house. I posted back the key in an envelope and let the Royal Mail deliver his house key to him. At one stage, I was going to call him and tell him I'm outside his house and come and take the key. Then I remembered the videos that I'd been watching and realised that my emotional thinking nearly got me caught out again. Thank you once again, HG. I'm continuing my no-contact regime, and he's been blocked and he's flying monkeys, also on all platforms. I have got out, and I am now staying out. Keep up your brilliant work. Thank you for your honesty. We need you and your work. You've saved my mental health as I understand exactly what has been happening to me over the last 20 years. Thank you, Terry Ann. A detailed list of the number of the videos that have helped this particular person make sense of what she was dealing with, bringing the clarity that is so important to so many people. If you'd like to share your circumstances and what you found to be helpful in terms of you maintaining a successful escape, then all you need to do is send either a video or an audio file or your written submission for me to narrate to narcissist1909@gmail.com with the subheading Successful Escapes, and then it will be considered for inclusion in this ongoing series. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.